This is the second half of the lesson for 4-3 similar figures, part 1. So let's take a look at this problem here, number 6. It asks us to find the angles of each of the unknowns. And so the first one I'm going to end up finding is x. And so the way I do that is notice how 2x plus 20 is on the right side of the transversal, but inside the two parallel lines. Well, 40 is on the alternate side, or the opposite side of the transversal, again, inside the two parallel lines. So since they are both opposite of each side of the transversal, but the same side or inside the two parallel lines, those are called alternate interior angles. And so what we can end up doing is setting those two expressions equal to one another to find x. So the reason I can do this is due to alternate interior angles. And so I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 20 from both sides to solve for x. And so when I do that, I'm left with 2x equals 120. And I'll go ahead and divide by the 2. And when I do that, I've got my answer. And x is 60. So once we've got that, we can go ahead and solve for the other ones. So I'll look at A. And notice how A is on the same side with respect to the transversal. It's kind of in that upper left-hand corner if you look at these four. So is A. So those A equals 140, and the reason is that they are corresponding angles, or corresponding to, we'll say, the given. It's corresponding to the given. And we can go with B. B is 40 degrees, and the reason why it's 40 degrees is it's supplementary to angle A. So supplementary means that those two add to make 180. So if A is 140, we subtract the 180 or 140 from 180, and that's what we get left is the 40. C is going to also be 40 degrees, and the reason is it's vertical to angle B. Then we can move on down to the next set down here. We could say D equals 40 degrees. In a few different ways we could say it. One way we could say it is it's an alternate interior angle to angle C. So A and C and D are on the opposite sides of the transversal and inside both parallel lines. We can go down to E now. E is also 40 degrees. The reason why it's 40 is that it's vertical to angle D. So there's, again, lots of different ways you could specify that. I could have said it is also 40 because it's corresponding to C. I could also say it is alternate exterior angles to B. And that's what I'll say for F. See, F is 140 degrees because it is an alternate exterior angle. To angle A. So notice that's on opposite sides, alternate sides of the transversal, and exterior means outside the parallel lines. So that's what you do on number 6, and again number 5 was very similar to that on the other tutorial. And then the last problem says state which angles are congruent, and you got to explain. So what we have here are different angles, A, B, and C, and we'll say that A is not outside here, it's actually inside. And we'll say that D is, well, for instance, we'll say it's this point here represents A. This point right here represents B. This point right here represents C. So these aren't really angles. These are points. And so we have to justify or specify the angle by those points. So I might say angle ABC. So angle ABC, that would be A to B to C. So I'm talking about this angle right in here is going to be congruent. So I use that congruent symbol to angle. Now, I got to be specific here about the angles. Now, I got to look at these two triangles, and they're similar in that, so that I have to specify the points that correspond with each other in the same order. So, for instance, if I'm talking about A, B to C, well, A corresponds to E. So I'm going to start with E, and then D corresponds to B, so I'll put in D, and then C, well, those are the same points. So C, and the reason why they are congruent is they are alternate or interior angles. And again, these are parallel lines we're going to specify too. I should have drawn that earlier. And now let's go to another one. Let's do angle, how about BCA is congruent to, okay, I had B, so I got to go to the one that corresponds to it, and that'd be D. So angle DCE. And so notice how DC and E is the same as BC and A. These two angles are congruent because they are vertical angles. And now I've got one more. So the last one would be with A in the center. Notice how the center point is the angle. So I'm going to go from B, and then I'll go over to A, and then C. So BAC. So this angle right here is going to be congruent to angle DE, and then the C. And so DEC is the same as BAC. And so that is due to alternate interior angles. So those are the types of problems you're going to see on your homework. Good luck.